Today, Bitcoin and Ether are in the red by double digits to end the month of August. Former FTX exec Ryan Salem drops his bid to vacate his conviction. And Alex Thorn of Galaxy Digital discusses crypto's weak performance in August and where markets could be headed in September. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Brandon Gomez. Cryptocurrencies in the red to end this week, with Bitcoin falling nearly 4.5% as of noon, back to the $58,000 level. Ether dropped nearly 5%, and Solana sank a whopping 8.76% to $133. Now, for the week, major cryptocurrencies are moving lower, with Bitcoin down more than 8% on pace for its fourth weekly loss in the past 5. Ether was down more than 10% on pace for its worst week since the first full week of the month. And as we wrap up August, let's take a look at how major cryptocurrencies performed this month. Bitcoin was in the red by 11%, and Ether and Solana more than doubled Bitcoin's monthly losses at more than 24%. Now that marks Bitcoin's second monthly loss in 3, and the cryptocurrency's worst month since April, when it fell nearly 16%. Ether is on pace for its third monthly loss in a row and worst monthly performance since June of 2022, when it fell more than 47%. Okay, let's talk about the top stories for today. Ryan Salem, a former top lieutenant at the failed crypto exchange FTX, has withdrawn a petition to vacate his guilty plea for campaign finance and money transmitting violations. In a court filing yesterday, Salem's legal team told the court that he is withdrawing his petition to allow the facts to be developed in his longtime partner Michelle Bond's case. Bond, who is the mother of Salem's 8-month-old child, is now also facing criminal charges. Last week, in a court filing, Salem's lawyers said the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, in an effort to get him to plead guilty last September, told Salem in April of 2023 that they would stop investigating Bond for campaign finance violations if he pled guilty. The lawyers asked Manhattan U.S. District Court Judge Lewis Kaplan for either an order setting aside Salem's guilty plea on the basis of the government's breach, or an order that prosecutors abide by their promise not to pursue criminal charges against Bond. A spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment on Salem's filing. In an order published last night, Judge Kaplan ruled that he would still hold a hearing on the original petition regardless of Salem's motion to withdraw it. The judge also said that Salem must attend the hearing, which was a condition of his bail. Now, Salem is due to begin serving a 7.5-year prison sentence on October 13th. He was also ordered to pay more than $6 million in forfeiture and more than $5 million in restitution. Next, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump announced that he was proposing a plan to, quote, ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet. Now, the announcement came yesterday morning on X, hinting at a planned rollout later in the day. By yesterday evening, though, after a rally and a town hall in 2 battleground states, Trump did not yet reveal the crypto plan, and there was no formal update as of this morning. Well, a campaign spokesperson did not reply to CNBC's questions about the announcement, but what we do know is that the Trump Organization's new crypto platform, which is a private, family-owned entity, not officially connected to his campaign, has been rebranded to World Liberty Financial from the Defiant Ones. Trump promoted the new platform last week on Truth Social, and earlier this week, Trump also announced the release of new NFT trading cards, also a private business. Now, crypto remains a hot topic this presidential race, with reports of Democratic candidate Kamala Harris also warming her stance on crypto. Last, the latest release of the Chainalysis mid-year crime update shows that pig butchering scams remain lucrative. Now, in this new report released yesterday, Chainalysis revealed that pig butchering is the largest revenue-generating scam type year to date. The firm points to one Myanmar-based scam compound, which was first observed on-chain in 2022, netting at least $101 million so far this year. Chainalysis describes pig butchering as a romance scam, which got its name because of the way bad actors fatten up their victims by building trust to then get them to invest in a fake investment opportunity. The new report notes that for the most part, scammers have been moving away from more broad-based schemes to more targeted campaigns like pig butchering. Chainalysis notes that there has been a steady increase in crypto sent to services that sell social media accounts to target victims in the last 2 years, totaling $10.5 million from 2022 to 2024. That could translate to between 525,000 and more than 2 million social media profiles purchased. Chainalysis says that the increase in crypto used to pay for social media accounts involved in pig butchering and romance scams suggests that scammers are changing their methods and infrastructure in response to a stronger enforcement environment, which could make it more difficult to achieve victim restitution. All right, back to the markets for our main story today. August is a seasonably weak month for crypto, and 2024 is no different. But what is different about this year is that there are plenty of things crypto investors should be excited about. Interest rates are likely to come down, and the 2024 presidential candidates have been showing support for the crypto industry. So why are prices stuck right now? Well, Crypto World's Jordan Smith spoke to Alex Thorn of Galaxy Digital to find out.
I want to start with this week and August specifically. I mean, we came out of last weekend riding pretty high for Bitcoin. We've had a pretty rough week, and now we're coming back a little bit. But overall, Bitcoin's down about 11.5% this month. Ether's down 25%. Talk about the August that we've had so far and what you think is driving prices in this direction.
Yeah, it's been a rough one this month, Jordan. And by the way, thanks for having me on. And yeah, I mean, I have it as, down 10 to 24%, but that was just about an hour ago. We're trading pretty heavy right now today on Friday. Look, we have a big overhang following the Bitcoin Nashville conference, right? I mean, I shouldn't even say an overhang, almost a hangover. There's some political, I think, correlation here as well with Trump's, deep embrace. I mean, even launching his own projects and selling his own NFTs, let alone his embrace of crypto, and what I would call Harris's ambivalence. And so as, Harris's election odds and polls have improved and Trump's have receded, I think that's part of the story. August seasonally is also one of Bitcoin's worst months. I think 8 out of the last 11 Augusts it traded down. And so there's a seasonality aspect. You also had a significant supply overhang events, right? You had Mt. Gox finally start making its distributions in July, starting July 4th. We think those are mostly over now. You also had the US government selling coins. You had Germany selling coins. I think most of that overhang is past. Both Mt. Gox, Germany's out of coins. I think most of what the US government still holds was recovered from theft and is likely to be returned to the victims, particularly Bitfinex, the exchange. So perhaps not sold. But, that's all contributed to weakness. I think, obviously, there have been macroeconomic events. This unwind of the Japanese yen carry trade impacted all markets, sent Bitcoin tumbling all the way down to 49K. So I think if you take a step back, though, you're looking at a market that has basically traded sideways since March. I mean, yes, with a decent amount of volatility inside a relatively high range, but even if you take out that Japan yen carry trade, we're talking about like 50K to 70K for months, 58K to 70K. With that, it's 50 to 70K. So, I think it's been a tough month. It's a low liquidity month. I think people are looking for the next narrative.
Yeah, to your point, we have been stuck in this range for a while. And I want to go back to something you said about the political environment specifically, because I think if you went to crypto enthusiasts 5 years ago and said that we were having a conversation during an election cycle about which president is going to buy more Bitcoin or going to be more supportive of the crypto industry, it would be a huge catalyst for crypto markets. And we're just not seeing that right now. Even if you talk about Wall Street, I mean, you have Wall Street buying crypto ETFs. It seems like that would be major enthusiasm for the crypto industry, and it's just not there. What do you make of that we're stuck here despite all of this good news?
I think there's a lot of uncertainty about the political situation, right? I mean, I think it is true. I mean, you saw Bitcoin trade all the way up to 70K, basically on the precipice of Trump's speech in Nashville in July. I think there are folks who view, I think it's fair to say that most people view a Trump victory as very bullish for the crypto industry in America. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that if we take that biggest step back, Jordan, and think about how far we've come, that it's even potentially a political issue in a U.S. presidential election, it is, I think, a little surprising to that people are so complacent about that. Even getting the meager statements we've gotten from the Harris campaign, which are quite light, I should point out, would still have been almost unthinkable, merely years ago. I think the way to think about the election is that it's, even as a trading perspective, like on Bitcoin specifically, you're meant to own wingy upside in the event of a Trump victory. I think it's very possible we run quite higher, even, to 100K or beyond this year if Trump wins, solely because of the shifts in the regulatory landscape that are likely to occur. And we've gotten a taste of that. Brian Brooks at the OCC, when Trump was previously president, eased all the regulations, specifically guided that banks could touch cryptos and use blockchain networks. I mean, so whole swaths of the regulatory regime would be likely to change for the positive for crypto if he were to win. I think conversely, if Harris wins, I think it's probably neutral, basically. As far as I can tell, there is no meaningful demonstrated difference between the Harris campaign's positions on crypto and the Biden administration's. And when you look at the people advising her, they're all from the Biden administration on crypto policy. So I think if anything, that's positive because it's not likely to be like a net new negative. But you just sort of wait and see. So I feel like downside's relatively capped on the election outcome, but there's still the potential for, big upside.
Let's look ahead to September specifically. You've got some pretty big events coming up. We've obviously seen economic data that shows that the economy is somewhat resilient. The Fed looks like it's about to start cutting rates in September. Despite that optimism that we'll see rate cuts, we'll see the Fed thread this needle of a soft landing. Do you still expect us to be range bound in this 58 to 70K that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, I mean, September seasonally also quite a weak month for Bitcoin. I think 7 out of 11 of the last Septembers, it was also down. October, November, December, some of Bitcoin's most bullish months, right? So I think as you get further into the fall, just purely on seasonality, and those of us who've been watching this market for a long time, we know why, because right, October last year is when the Bitcoin ETF anticipation really heated up. Like November was the 2021 all-time high. December was the 2017 all-time high. So we recall these moments. I think September was pretty weak last year. There's not a lot on the horizon, I would say. To your specific question about the rates environment, I think it is true that global liquidity is set to expand around the world, and that's been a pretty strong indicator in support of Bitcoin's price. At the same time, that needle does need to be thread. I mean, monetary easing, if it's also in the face of significant employment problems that create a major drag on the economy, that will also harm financial markets, right? So I think it's unclear. I mean, markets feel like they've mostly priced in these cuts. So I think it isn't going to be negative. I think the hope is that, you get some monetary easing that can be supportive of risk assets without the actual employment picture truly deteriorating.
Okay, that's all we have for Crypto World today. We'll be back here on Tuesday after the Labor Day holiday. We'll see you then.